Check it out, yeah. Check, I'm your brother's speech, brother, relative close to you, from the same source you could depend on. Got your back, won't front. If he does, he'll come clean. Never mean to hurt you unless he's mature enough to know better. Never will betray you for the cheddar. Supporter, you could cry on his shoulder. If you're timid, he's
alright. But when you talk about getting laid off from the job, or when you're talking about husband or wives leaving you, you don't know how you're going to get through it. God is still right there. But there's ultimately something better. There's a blessing for you, but you have to go through it.
When your stomach's upset and you're about to vomit, your truth protector, your nectar, your reflector, your blood type connector, the missing piece to your puzzle. When you're about to go off your muzzle, your peace, your mirror to your reality, your best friend, your visitor in prison, the one that listens, the one that stops others from dissing.
And different level of knowledge, willing to reading, because everyone can find something with their everything.
Solutions, it dissolves confusion. Out of the overflow of the heart, it exists. It's what God chose to compose things from out of the abyss. What falls from the human limb, the essence of what makes hip-hop hip. The tool prophets used to show God.
It was just like, oh my gosh, it was fanatic. It was crazy. It was off the hook. Matter of fact, it was off the chain. I thought I was going to need aspirins, but I tell you what, after hearing the way the sound of the didgeridoo
divides families to fight wars in the jungle. Speech, the power to have a million march in the streets of Washington D.C. truly becoming a chocolate city. All about communication, it started building a nation, a full-time occupation. In my marriage situation, your brother speech. And
it transformed from fiction into realism, even though it is work fiction.
Come on, why won't y'all just put your hands in the air and wave them like that, y'all? Check it out now, like that. You're more than a pretty face, girl with a curvy shape. You're full of substance, you're not shallow at all. For hours we can sit and talk, yeah. Just about anything, from A to Z. It's crazy how you relate to me. Oh girl, with you I can always be myself. It's something that I've never felt. What's not to love about you? Every day I find more reasons to. Cause you're in a beauty that's always shining through. What's not to love about you? I love how you don't walk around with the all about me attitude.
Yes. Welcome to another great show of ASA Pub News. Oh, we have a lot in store for you today. Not only have one guest, but we have two. And the two guests, one of them that's going to be coming up first, his name is Eddie Flay Hudson. Yes, Eddie Flay Hudson. I heard of him because his book has been selling like hotcakes. I mean, oh my gosh, it's incredible. The book is called Growing Up Colored in Monroe, Michigan. Yes, Growing Up Colored in Monroe, Michigan. And it's actually historic Monroe, Michigan, if anybody knows about Monroe. You know, I always say Monroe is where the presidents come to hang out, you know. But, and Monroe, you know, with politics and stuff like that. But this is a pretty cool town that, you know, city, I must say, as we're growing, that, you know, jazz festivals and stuff like that. But this book has been showing from the times of the early 60s, I think maybe in the late 50s, early 60s, you know, the things that goes on in Monroe County back then. So we have the author, although he put some extra humor into it, but it's a documentary, and he shares with us, you know, not just only the bad side, but he shows a good side, and also how we have progressed from this time, okay? But not only that, we have a second guest, and the second guest is I mean, she's well known. She's a former celebrity from, she's a lead singer in the church choir for the James Cleveland. Yes. So you heard of James Cleveland. Well, her name is Quentella Caldwell. And believe you me, it was like pulling teeth to when I started researching to find out who she was, I was like, oh no! I was singing and I was, you know, listening to her music, and I was like, yeah! I was crying, tears coming out my eyes, like, oh my goodness! Oh, and her singing is dynamic. Well, anyway, she wrote a book, and the book is called Wow Alzheimer's. Okay, a caregiver's story. Wow Alzheimer's, a caregiver's story. And this story was a tragedy that happened with her mother. And her mother, before she passed away, Quentella's going to share with us the experiences, and it's in her book, the experiences that she had to take on, you know, through not only the good times, but the rough times when things started changing, and, you know, an Alzheimer's disease, you know, your mind slips and stuff like that, and it's very hard. But you know, she made it through it with her mother and being by her side all the way to glory. I say it that way. So without further ado, you know what? We'll be right back after this. Welcome back. We have today Eddie Flay Hudson. Okay, Eddie Flay.
Thank you.
How you doing, man?
Thank you for having me.
Hey, it's a pleasure. As a matter of fact, you know what? This book titled Growing Up Colored in Monroe, Michigan. You know, first I was nervous, like, oh my God. Oh. But you know what? This book is astounding. Actually, I enjoyed reading it. As a matter of fact, it didn't matter what ethnic background, nationality, everybody enjoyed it. You know, it was interesting that not only do you have, you know, the things of back then when you was growing up, but generally what I'm saying is that you have the Monroe Evening News clippings of it that shows us things of the past, okay, like the football and stuff like that. But also, you know, you've added your special flavor of Eddie Flay of flavor. How about that? Eddie Flay of flavor into the book of humor. You add that humor to it. So you know, I like a positive controversial in your book because it actually gets to think. You know, wow, this is what happened back then. You know, and the thing I love about it is that everybody enjoyed it. Everybody. It didn't matter what nationality.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yes, everybody. Well, tell us a little bit about your book. Well, how about that?
Well, I left Monroe in the mid-'60s, and people that I know, that I've met in Detroit metropolitan area. First of all, when they found out I was from Monroe, they're like, oh, you know, ain't no black people in Monroe. We don't believe that, you know. So then I had to prove that, yes, there were indeed black people in Monroe. The average person would say, oh, the only thing in Monroe is custard. And for some reason, they couldn't pronounce Custer. Oh. General George Armstrong Custer, you know, who met his demise at Battle of the Little Bighorn. But people were aware of that, and they knew about the conflicts, the French and Indian War that was here. And, but they didn't have any concept of a black history in Monroe. And during some of these times that I would talk about, they said, you know what, you should write some of that stuff down because some of it is like really funny. And so I just started, you know, jotting down things as I recalled them. Talked about some of the strange names we had. For instance, my nickname in Monroe was Pooley, which people crack up about when I tell them that. And, you know, that kind of stuff. But along with the historical concept, there's always pain in growing up. Felt some racism, overt and oftentimes covert racism. And, you know, you sort of have to purge yourself of those things and say, hey, we're going to move on. What's done is done. And let's make some progress now. And as I noted in the book, I said, I can see progress in Monroe between the different ethnic groups. Monroe is well known for its jazz festivals now. I hear people talking about it all the time in the Detroit area. And, you know, great fishing community. People are really into that. Like we used to fish off the I-75 bridge before I-75 was completed. A place called Plum Creek. You know, we'd also go swimming over there. You know, much to the chagrin of our parents, would have killed us when they found out that we'd been swimming in those dangerous waters. You know, also spoke on the fact that Monroe over the years. They've had some outstanding people from Monroe. Think about Robert Etheridge, I think he was a chancellor of Emory University in Georgia, and several other notable people that have done great things from Monroe. Always had great athletic teams here. We loved our softball. People are still nuts about softball in Monroe, and those are just some of the good things. You know.
Well, one of the things that your book has brought attention to me was the fact that I never gave much thought. I always seen the General Custer, you know, on his horse at the corner of Monroe and Elm.
Right.
Okay, and then always, you know, that humor they have because General Custer's pointing over towards Big Boy, and Big Boy sign is up there. But, you know, I never gave much thought that not only that Monroe, you know, have a praise for General Custer, but they also had a praise for Martin Luther King because I didn't realize the bridge was Martin Luther King Bridge. Right. I didn't even know that, and I was kind of, you know, overwhelmed with joy. It was like, wow. So not only that, you know, we have the monument of Custer, but also your book kind of brought attention to, wow, there is a history in Monroe, you know, of colored nationality, and that it was never really talked about as much. But this are things that happened in the past, in the
right.
late 50s, early 60s, or late 50s and all the way through to the late 60s. Did I say that right?
That's correct.
Okay, and you know, it's nice to know history, not something, there's different getting to understand history than to not understand it and start becoming unself-aware, where you know you get hypertension, hyperactive over something that historical. That's the difference.
Right.
You know, it's historical, not hysterical, but historical. Even though you had some hysterical little sayings in there, but that was the past. And and reflecting on the past, we have to understand, you know, where that background came from. You know, because evidently, you know, as you grew up during that time in Monroe, you seem to do well for yourself. You know, you and your family seem to do pretty well. You know, you even have friends that close friends that's, according to the book, that's went track, I believe.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Willie Jones is one of the greatest athletes to come out of this area.
Wow.
Track, all-state football, and it was a privilege for me to be on the same team with him. And he was well loved, well respected, and unfortunately left us a little early.
You was on track too with him.
That's true, yeah. Track and football, yeah.
Okay, okay. I think we're going to see that picture. Everybody, you want to see that picture? Yeah, we're going to see that picture. So we're going to show those pictures too during our messages I see it sometimes. So I'm going to show that because that was 4 of you in the picture, right? 4 or 5 of you?
Yeah, that was going all the way back to Lincoln Junior High School.
Okay,
That was Willie Jones, Ronald. We nicknamed him Squinch back in the old days, because he had an unfortunate accident. We're playing baseball, and he got hit in the eye. And but thank God there was not any serious injury.
Okay,
and Ronald Squinch, Watkins, and Curtis Garrett. That was the 4 of us that were on that particular junior high team. And then all of us also played football at Monroe High School, where we were fortunate enough to win a Border Cities League's championship.
Okay.
Our senior year. Don't know if that's been duplicated, but much success to the Trojans now, the new Trojans.
Oh.
Because all of old heads were through.
Oh. I don't know. Is it, you know, it's like Monroe takes care of their own, and it doesn't matter of nationality. The one thing I've noticed also is great report that we've had and still have at the bookstores, especially at Book Nook here. I mean, you know, everybody loved it. You know, everybody loved your work. People went down memory lane.
Right.
Okay, so it was kind of cool to go back memory lane, and then it not only because some controversies that's inside the book, the things that happened, but also the spots, the locations that are not there now. Like, wasn't there an island back then or something, and it's not there no more?
Unfortunately,
on the east end?
Unfortunately, it was very harsh for me to say, but there was an island at the ballpark. It was called Nigger Island.
Oh!
Like I said, it's harsh, but it was true.
Yes.
And I started researching that. What happened to N-word Island? And someone from the Historical Society pointed out to me that the Corps of Army Engineers had indeed sunk it into the river. So it disappeared, and you know, thank God that was a positive thing. That piece of land did exist, and I don't know if it was named that because the slaves that were escaping on the escape route.
I mean, I don't want you to say the name again, but
yeah, of course.
But that name was the island's name?
Yes, it was.
It was the island's name.
Yeah.
So the army that used to be here actually sunk it.
Well, the modern day army, because when I was talking to the Historical Society, they said, well, yeah, indeed, that no longer exists.
So the Historical Society actually confirms.
Oh, they have documentation of it. Right. And you can go online and probably find it also, that it did exist.
So this island might have been for slavery and stuff like that?
It might have been as a jump-off place for the escaping slaves. that were trying to get to Canada. I think that was the
from here?
From the south all the way up through this area.
Like spots. Or I mean, I'm trying to picture the
sort of like the underground railroad.
Yeah.
There were different areas where
spots, locations.
Yeah, slaves, right? Yeah. Where slaves would, hide out until they had an opportunity to move again. And I think that was the reason, when most of course, all the slaves were black. So then I guess, they just attached that connotation, that word to it.
Yes, but then
maybe not out of malice or hate or ignorance, but maybe that's the only name they could think of, saying that, okay, we have this island where Negroes, black people are being, sheltered. And so then they just put the derogatory term.
So technically, Monroe came a long way.
It has.
Come a long way.
It certainly has.
That's beautiful. Yes. Monroe has come a long way from back then. It's beautiful, and now we're a tourist attraction.
Right.
From back then to now,
right.
What a drastic changeover.
Right.
I mean, we expanded, became a tourist attraction. I mean, it's beautiful to get up in the morning and everybody's waving, saying hello to each other. And it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. Yes, it's a beautiful thing. And that's interesting that when you look back at the past and the things, it's like the name of the island and the events that went on back then, that actually Monroe progressed, not became aggressive, but progressed in a positive way, and not only brought one nationality or segregated area of the community, but they brought everybody together in unity and brought everybody up.
That's true.
Okay, because I remember when I first came here. I mean, I was welcomed with open arms too, and like at Time Out for Allen Shade Cadillac, Chrysler brought me up here, and they took me under their wings, and in sales and automotive, and next thing I know it, I was welcomed over at the airlines, and from the airlines, I mean, they even helped me go to college, here in Monroe. So, I mean, that was, now I'm an old man now, but just to think about it, the progression, they don't want to leave nobody behind. Right. They always try to find a way to help homeless people and stuff like that. So from back then, there's a transitioning moment that there's at some point enough was enough, and Monroe was able to, like I look at the Martin Luther King Bridge. I didn't even know that was a Martin Luther King Bridge.
No, I didn't either.
That just blew me away. So I was like, oh my goodness, that, and I saw it on the back of the book. That was interesting. The Martin Luther King, in the back of it, and I'll put it in the big screen. In the back of it, it has the General Custer statue, and the sign for the Martin Luther King next to the Martin Luther King Bridge. And it's interesting that Monroe actually, not only that, this is Spanish, this stuff about historical about Spanish here too. So, and the Indians and all that. Right. So it's not just one, but as a unity, Monroe has actually progressed in historical documentations for everybody. And what you did was actually help enhance to open up those, of Negro, black nationality, to see what it was like in Monroe and appreciate how Monroe progressed. Is that about right?
Yeah, well, that was my original intention.
Yeah.
To show Monroe how it has grown, internally and externally, and to do it in a historical context, along with some humor. And wherever you have pleasure, you're going to also have some pain. And I think if I would have rewritten that little project, I may have done some things differently. But for the most part, I would sort of stick to what I wrote because those are my convictions. Hey, hope everyone got a good read out of it. and reflected back on the past. You know.
I'll tell you what, we'll be right back. As a matter of fact, before we go, I want to let you know that when we go into our message this time, you get to see an episode coming up, and it's by Lenny Costello, Constello, as I say pronounce his name, and it's titled, it's politics, so you're going to have fun and enjoy yourselves. It's Vinny the Elf. So we'll see you in a few moments.
All right.
Hey, how yous doing? Vinny the Elf here with this week's Naughty or Nice list. So let's get to it. Topping this week's Naughty list, Lindsay Lohan. Why? She bolted from rehab last week. Hey, crazy girl, if Vinny's gotta do what the court says, you gotta do what the court says. You think I like doing community service just cause some gooch in Brooklyn accidentally banged his nose against my fist 20 times while trying to jack Santa's sleigh? Take it like a grown-up for Pete's sake. Now, conversely, topping this week's nice list is Lindsay Lohan. Why? She's such a stunad, she keeps Vinny and his paisans entertained with all her nutty antics. I haven't laughed so much since the first few times I saw that movie with Joe Pesci and Herman Munster. Hey, Snowman Joey, anything to add?
What, you don't remember that time we was up at that club up at Park Slope and that Pataputan? She starts sniffing at my back and I'm all like, hey, get off of me, you dumb broad. I ain't made of that kind of snow. Ah, forget about it, Vinny.
And there you have it. Till next week, Goombas.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Yes. Vinny the Elf was a trip. Also, seeing the pictures of Eddie Flay Hudson, you know, on the track team and everything, and that was phenomenal. Interesting. Some historical documentations even about yourself.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yes. But, you know, this book, you know, oh, as a matter of fact, your book, you got requested from the Michigan nominated nominee committee, nominated committee or something like that.
The actual Library of Michigan contacted my publisher here, Mr. Stephen Hill, about nominating the book for noteworthy book of the year. And we are in competition for that.
Excellent.
Hopefully cheer for me and we might get over. So.
Yes.
I would like to tell the audience that how pleased I was when I was looking for a publisher. You know, I was looking nationally at first, you know, the different publishing houses. But then I said, well, I'm going to try to find someone local. And I don't know if you remember, I called you. I just saw, you know, ASA, someone called, Monroe, Michigan.